So look at this. Your stream key, right? It's wait, we gotta show this screen here. Your stream key is even hide, so you don't have to worry about oh I can't do this because you know people gonna see my stream key. Blah, blah, blah. Nah, there's no bullshit. Right? Start this from scratch. There you go. Boom, boom. Put the key here. Boom, boom. And then click start streaming. Alright? You still see the game here. We're on Twitter. We're live. Yo, what's up, Twitter guys? Whatever, you know. This is me, Mr. Soldier. I'm proving innocence right here today. And then once this thing says to go live, boom, you click live. Alright? Click live. I'm not live. It's unlisted. Whatever. And then you can see me here. Alright? Look, you're live. And then you got people in the chat. Yo, what's up, Soldier? And then there, you're awesome, man. And then right there, bro, everything is on. Turn off the
spot.
on Twitter. And from now on, live. Whatever, how much time you do. It's not complicated. And then we'll see your performance. If your aim is still as sneaky and shit, bro, we're gonna go, man. You know what? You really are the best female at Warzone. And if not, if it looks a little bit like Modern Warfare, where you know you're shooting a little bit all the decorations around, well, then you know, maybe you're not so innocent. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's not complicated, bro. If it was me, like I said, if this was me being accused of cheating, dude, I would do this in 100 beats. I would do this without hesitation. Why would I be hiding, bro? I got nothing to know. You think, bro, I wouldn't make a video and say, hey, hi, guys, it's me, Mr. Soldier. I just want to tell you that, you know, I'm not cheating. I don't use anything, and, you know, what you guys are hearing, you know, it's false, you know. You're just mad because I have some balls and they got a vagina, you know. So, I don't know. God, legit, right? Or, you know, don't start a stream with, like, your stream, the way it starts, it's already, like, everything is set up. You know, some people do, like, oh, you know what, I'm going to put the camera in the back, and you're going to see all my screens. And, like, when you go live, everything is already set up. No, no, no. No bullshit. I want to see from the scratch. Everything. Show. Do it. Seriously. Do it. Do it. Do it. Come on. Do it. But for real, that's the way, the most logical and genuine way to show people that you're not cheating. And I mean, if you're having similar performance, there you go. By the way, shout out to Call of Shame, because yesterday I was featured in one of their videos, and not for the wrong reasons, but for the right reasons, which you can listen here.
Respected content creators were absent, such as Dr. Disrespect, who never got invited. It was a complete disgrace. This feminist on Twitter claims to be the one for sending out the invites. She has even given herself a title, Influencer Relations for Activision. She recommends creators to Activision's marketing team, which is why content creators keep on her good side. Some of these bedroom Warzone streamers will sell their soul to further their career. In fact, this Twitch e-girl already has. She sold her soul to the devil to further her gaming career, and warned she will be waiting for her friends in hell. Is it any wonder why she has been banned by Activision from attending their events? What happened to inviting real gamers? Gamers who play the game it was supposed to be played without cheating. I don't see these streamers trolling about cheating for impressions. So, where are their invites? So who else got invited to play?
וואי, החברה שלך העלתה סרטון יפה. הצ'לנית. הנה, הנה כחומר. מתי אנחנו רבים בקבוק לשנת שירים? ב? בקבוק לשנת משחק חדש? אני מחפש איזו מסגרת יפה שיהיה לה... אקוודור. הכל נשפך ביין. למה אתה לא עושה כלום? תסתכל, ספרים ביין. ובעיניי, נו, אתה... Покажи. Хазарта байта. Тесадер. Тесадер ביחד איתי דברים. בבקשה. תסדר בובות שלו, משחקים. בוא נשים בזה. הנה, תסדר קוביות. בבקשה. קוביות כזה. יש לסדר. אני לא אוהבת שאתה מיד אתה כבר עושה דברים שלך. אתה שומע אותי? בבקשה. קונסטרוקטור שהוא גם. תודה.
Down to go study or down to sit down?
Enemy soldier nearby. Check your gear and weapons. We go soon. Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies. Enemy dropping into the AO.
Bastards got me in their sights.
time's over. Stand by for deployment to the war zone. Resurgence. Mark a drop point for your team. You'll lead them in. The gas is closing on your position. Suggest you start running. Find a mission and help your team. Operating with skill will reduce the resurgence countdown. Enemy UAV active. There are 24 enemies active. Kill them all.
Hit! Enemy dead!
You've got a second chance. Make it count. It's all on you until squad mates redeploy. Enemy soldier nearby. Enemy UAV active. One of your allies is back in the game.
Found a helicopter. I can fly it.
Recon's
Allied
inbound.
UAV overhead. Hunt them down. You're back in the action.
Frag out.
אז היא כבר מוכן.
اوه من چیزمو دادم مستعجل.
Gas is moving.
اوه یادش رفت.
You're being tracked by an enemy team. Tread carefully.
טוב מאוד. במחול מחול. אוקיי. אוקיי.
همینجا رو میگه بابایی، میگه خونه های با اجاره گرونتره. آره بابایی بدون وسیله هست. اما بابایی تمام خونه نیست.
Found some cash.
You got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated. Friendly loadout drop on the way. Friendly loadout drop on the way.
یه یخچال هم نداره بابایی.
some goodies.
לא, עכשיו מיד לחפות, אני לא רוצה שאתה רואה את זה. אני לא מס... אנחנו דיברנו, אתה שיחקת 4 שעות. תחבר מיד, אני לא רוצה... בנה, אני אמרתי, אני לא מסכימה
You
שום משחק.
outmaneuvered the enemy trackers.
זה ככה, אני אשתמר
Package comment.
אני אומרת לו, תלמד, תשמע פודקאסטים, אבל שום משחק, תחבר שם.
Receiving intel from comms tower in the area.
תחבר.
Does anyone need this?
Objective is to eliminate the bounty target. Gas is moving.
Okay, forget my last. Enemies close.
Destination marked.
The bounty target is down. Marvelous.
Does anyone need this?
خاموش کن سرایا.
Objective is to eliminate the bounty target.
So I kind of want to start the show with just you talking about how, the original Xbox got hacked.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
This is Bunny, or at least Bunny is his hacker handle. Back in 2003,
Yeah,
he published a book called Hacking the Xbox, just
Enemy
after
UAV
graduating from
active.
MIT.
Yeah, I was at MIT as a grad student at the time.
Oh, and just as a random fact here, the term hacker actually emerged from the MIT Tech Model Railroad Club in the 1960s, and that ethos sort of paved the way for the hacker culture today. They were hacking model railroad sets to make them do things they weren't intended to do, and Bunny fit right in with this hacker culture at MIT.
Basically, every toy, every game console I had gotten since childhood, I've always taken apart. And, if I got tired of playing the game, I would just, change the resources in the game and get the highest score or whatever it is. So it was more fun to sort of hack the game than it was to play the game itself, is the bottom line.
Around this time, the original Xbox came out. Bunny got a hold of one and found it had high-end computing parts in it.
It was when I took...
I deserved it.
Great shot.
Only 10 are left.
I haven't seen him in so long. God damn it, Blue.
Fire sales done. Prices are back to normal. Stay vigilant. Resurgence window is about to close.
Took it apart as very clearly a PC to me on the inside, right? And being able to run my own code on it, put Linux on it to make the game do what I want to do, right, was just a natural impulse to me. If you paid whatever $300 it was at the time for this thing, that's not a small amount of money, particularly to a student, and then you're told that you can't use it for what you want to use it for.
Time's up.
Like, what if I'm done playing
Objective
games? I need a
failed.
computer to write my paper, right? This is ridiculous, right? So that's sort of like the feeling that ran through my blood at the time.
See some goodies.
So that's the goal. Bunny owned an Xbox, which had all these parts that a computer would have, and he wanted to use it like a PC.
Yeah, it was basically a high-end PC. It should be able to run, my word processing software, or I should be able to just tell it to boot to a shell or something like that, so I can do what I want with it. It seemed like a reasonable prospect to me.
So he tried to put his own software on it, but there was a problem. It wouldn't run.
So the firmware image needed to be signed, encrypted to a key, and the key was not known, obviously, to the people who didn't have it. And so I couldn't put my own code in there unless I had that key.
Challenge accepted. Forget about playing the games on the Xbox. The game now was to find this key and somehow make it so he could run his own software.
Right. I mean, so a bunch of people were searching for it at the time, and I figured they would just crack it open, but they all sort of pointed down to this What was it?
Less than 10 still standing.
Hidden key that's read from a location inside of memory that would be sort of mapped out after you booted. So sort of like, you sort of, the process would wake up in the morning, it would go to a secret location, get its keys, and then it would like sort of brick over the door, turn it into a regular wall, so you couldn't find it again. So once you're in that outside space, none of the other exploits could figure out what that key was. And so it was obviously hidden somewhere in the hardware, was sort of extra architectural feature of the.
Before we were using Monday.com, our team was drowning in work. Our days used to split between work and managing work, but Monday.com just took care of all of the management, so we could simply focus on the work itself. As soon as we started, we were building and running workflows that made it really easy for us to work together. It's such a visual platform, you wouldn't believe it. You immediately get a sense of where everything stands. Anything from everyday teamwork to processes that cross departments. Like, for example, the team is far more efficient now that they're automatically notified at each stage of the process. Cuts out a lot of those sync meetings, because now we're all in sync. I mean, yeah, we're that efficient with Monday.com.
It's just nice to see, the Mr. Robot example and you actually doing it and showing, is it real or is it just a movie scene? And it's nice to see you, actually showing us how to do it.
And today is going to be among the most advanced, the most complex hacks that we saw in Mr. Robot, and maybe the most valuable in that we're going to be looking at essentially creating a mobile spy machine.
Xbox.
Hey everyone, David Bombal back with Occupy the Web.
Since
If
I was a
you
hardware
haven't seen our
guy,
previous
doing
videos, he's
sort of
the
research
author of
on
this
hardware
book,
at the time,
Linux Basics for
this sort of
Hackers.
played into my
Fantastic
alley,
book
so I
if you
started
want to learn
poking
Linux, but also from a hacker's perspective. And he's
After
also
a
the
lot
author
of
of this book,
research,
Getting
Bunny had
Started
an
Becoming a
educated
Master
guess
Hacker.
that this key
Occupy the Web,
probably
welcome.
travels
It's good to
over
be
a
back
specific
again,
wire
David.
or
It's
bus.
always great to be
And he tried to
talking
figure
to
out a
you
way to
and
sort
talking
of
about
sniff the
hacking.
data
I
that
love
was going over
this
that
effort
bus.
of
Simply
trying to
put, I built
explain,
a
the
little
Mr.
circuit
Robot
board
hack. So let's do
that
another one
could
today. And
capture
today is
the
going to
data
be
going across
among
that
the most
bus
advanced,
and
the
log
most
it
complex
to
hacks that we saw
another
in
piece of
Mr.
hardware
Robot,
that we could
and
use for later
maybe
analysis.
also
And then
maybe the most
essentially, as
valuable.
when we sort of boot the device, we could watch
in that we're going to be
that
looking
secret
at
ROM going to
essentially
the CPU,
creating a mobile
and then
spy machine.
observe the
I love
key
that. So,
embedded
I mean,
inside
you've
that
kind of
secret
mentioned
ROM.
it offline, and I don't want to jump the gun. So,
And this worked. He captured the
which
data.
episode are we talking
which
about?
looked kind of like it could be a key.
2, I think it's episode
He tried using
5.
the key in
I'm pretty
different
sure it's
ways to
episode
test
5.
some
They
code,
talk
but
about it in
wasn't
episode
working.
4. They do
But
it in
then
episode
he used
5.
the key with
and
a
this
certain
is,
offset,
well,
and
we know
Shazam,
that
the whole
Elliot
thing
has
started being
taken down
decrypted.
Evil Corp.
I had to
him
pinch
and
myself. I
FSI
mean, I
have
couldn't
taken
believe
down
it.
Evil Corp,
And then I was like, this can't be. Like,
this kind of
this had
chaos
to be a
in the
mistake in
global
the
economy,
code.
right?
Couldn't be right,
And we've now
and so then I
have
just
lots of things
double-checked and
going on,
double-checked. I was like,
including
holy
the
cow, this
Chinese
is it.
are
Like,
now
this
involved,
is the key. I
and
couldn't
we have
believe
the
it.
FBI's involved.
I think it
FBI
was
is
like 4
actually
a.m., right?
in
And so my
China.
girlfriend
We
was
have
asleep
the
already in the hut,
female
so I wasn't going to bother her,
FBI
right? But I was like
agent.
jumping out
What's
of my
her
skin
name?
and like couldn't
DePiro,
like,
I think is her
scream
name.
and shout.
Dom
So I
DePiro is
sent
her
a
name.
note into
Dom DePiro is in
the
China.
IRC
She's
forum that
meeting
was
with
on at the time.
the Chinese. The
And other
FBI
people validated it.
are
That
on
was
the
correct.
trail of
And then
Elliot
the next
and his
day,
whole gang.
I saw my PhD advisor
they're
and
kind of
told him
freaking
about
out.
it,
They're
and
getting
that's when he
paranoid.
informed me about
They
the
realize
MCA
that,
and
their
all the
FBI are
consequences that
not
could
very far
have happened as a
behind.
result of this. And I was like, oh my god, I didn't even realize this was like I didn't realize this was like a thing. Like, how could this even possibly be illegal for me trying to run my own code on my own box?
The DMCA, or Digital Millennium Copyright Act, specifically says it's illegal to disseminate technology in order to circumvent copyright protections. But the excitement of cracking a key on the Xbox was thrilling. Bunny kept tinkering with it and eventually got the Xbox to run Linux, which was a victory in this little game he set out to play. But now there was this looming issue that this whole thing might be illegal. Bunny, being a good MIT student, wanted to do the right thing.
We want to do the whole responsible disclosure thing, like, sort of tell Microsoft about the problem, figure out the right way to present the research, that sort of stuff. And so for several months, it went back and forth with lawyers and whatnot to try and figure out what was the right way to disclose the research without, doing it irresponsibly.
Bunny and Microsoft came to an agreement. Microsoft said, you can publish your report, but...
It was basically just don't share the key, right? You can tell how you did it and, what the research was and all the methods, but just don't print the exact key. That's reasonable, right?
Bunny started writing about how to reverse engineer the Xbox, but he had to make a choice on where to stop with all this hacking.
I kind of wanted to avoid anything that could be perceived as unlawful, particularly because I wanted to go public with it and I wanted to share the results of the work, right? So you can't really play it both ways. Either you go white hat or you go black hat, right? And so I just solidly decided I was going to go white hat on this one.
So one thing led to another, and Bunny ended up writing an entire book on how to hack the Xbox and reverse engineer it. He ended up actually self-publishing the book and sold it through his own website. And guess what? It became fairly popular.
Drive up to the post office with I had this old Maxima sedan, filled floor to ceiling with books and envelopes, and they guy like, oh, it's that guy again, that weirdo with the car full of books, and they bring out a big whatever the rolling cartons are, and I would just dump it all in there.
And this book inspired many hackers to learn how to do this and to take this so much further.
I think the problem that every technologist faces is that every technology is potentially dual use. This happened with the atomic bomb. Some people thought they could, create an energy source for humanity, and other people saw a weapon. I think there is a responsibility of the technologists to consider potential ethical ramifications of what they do, but it's also not the place of the technologists to deprive all of humanity because they solely judge that, a technology may be used one way or the other. It's just something you have to be aware of in the disclosure and how you educate people how to use it. We didn't say, man shouldn't touch fire because fire can lead to burns, right? It also leads to cooking and heating and staying alive, right? So, the question does keep me up a lot at night, but at the end of the day, some people are going to do what they want to do, right? And I who am I to say what's right or wrong? And, over time, sometimes things will evolve in a direction you can't control, but, I think to each their own at that point in time. It's like, there's only so much you can do to sort of, control destiny, right?
These are true stories from the dark side of the internet. I'm Jack Resider. This is Darknet Diaries.
I guess the best thing to start is basically from the beginning.
Wait. Before we get started, what should we call you?
Schizo's fine.
Okay, Schizo it is. Schizo was a member of the Xbox hacking crew called Team Avalanche. It was big in 2009. Oh, and I should give a warning somewhere at the beginning here. This episode and the next episode, they're explicit in nature. There are a lot of cuss words in these two, and the second one gets dark. We're going to talk about drugs and depression then. But if you can make it through that, holy cow, are you in for an amazing story. It's so amazing, I can hardly believe any of this. Except I do believe it, because I spent months fact-checking this as much as possible, but it's still unbelievable.
Jeez. Team Avalanche is collective group of hackers and hardware enthusiasts. Let's put it that way. The main focus there was Xbox. There were, some members that ventured into different areas. You had individuals like Lantis that was really really great with the emulation side of things. People like Redline. Who could do wonders with networking, and then you had some greed, and you had some people that took up space for God knows what.
The original Xbox that came out was amazing. The graphics were stunning. The games were great. Halo was my favorite, of course. The AI of the enemies in that game was just like anything I've ever seen before. It was amazing. But after the Xbox was out for a while and that initial sheen sort of wore off, some people didn't like the dashboard that came with it. The Xbox dashboard is the menu within the Xbox, and it lets you pick the games you want to play, log into Xbox Live, look at your settings, that kind of stuff. And the stock dashboard just wasn't enough for this group of hackers, so they got together to try to make a better dashboard. They wrote the software themselves and then got the Xbox to play it. This wasn't easy to do, to hack the Xbox into playing your own homemade software, but eventually they got it. And the dashboard that Team Avalanche made was pretty popular among the people who liked modding their Xbox. Another thing this group tried to do is play other games on the Xbox, like Nintendo games and PlayStation games. And you know what? They were doing it. They were hacking the Xbox to play all kinds of games the Xbox was not supposed to play. But really, if we take out our moral compass here, changing the dashboard and running emulators on your Xbox might be just entering the yellow area of hacking. Yeah, it's against the terms of service and might be illegal, but it's not really that big of a deal for someone like Microsoft to crack down on, investigate, or hire some lawyers to go after you.
It was, you want to do this with your Xbox, you're going to do this with your Xbox. But it was never a malicious attack on anything. It was a hobby.
So Team Avalanche tinkered and toyed with getting the Xbox to do all kinds of things. When the Xbox 360 came out in 2005, they were all over that too.
And that's more or less where I come in. During that time of the OG Xbox scene, I was more into the Sony and Dreamcast scene. It wasn't only until the 360 scene that's where I came in with Team Avalanche.
The Xbox 360 architecture was more secure than the original Xbox. Remember how Bunny was able to sniff that key off of one of the buses on the Xbox? Well, the 360 made it so the key never left the chip that it was on, making it impossible to do what Bunny did. So all new methods for getting custom software to run on the Xbox had to be done. Team Avalanche figured this out and built a custom dashboard for the 360. A few things were released publicly for other people to also do, but a lot of hacking was just kept secret within the group and wasn't publicly shared.
Obviously we ruffled feathers, but we weren't there to play pirated games. Obviously, ultimately, when majority of people that will do this want to do that, I was more than happy playing CPS3 games and Super Nintendo games and XBMC on my OG Xbox. Then I was more concerned about, playing a pirated game.
So you kind of get the feel of what Team Avalanche is up to, right? They're figuring out how to mod the Xbox, take it apart, make it do things it's not supposed to do. One of the members of Team Avalanche was named Rowdy Van Cleve. He was 38 years old, living in California.
Howdy got
so hold on. I call him Rowdy, you call him Howdy.
I call him Howdy.
Okay, but
yeah,
he goes by both?
He goes by both. Howdy was at the right place at the right time. Howdy had a friend who had access to a recycling facility.
So this is like an electronics recycling facility. Computers often contain a lot of toxic components and need to be disposed of properly. And Rowdy heard there were Xbox DVD drives for sale at this facility cheap. So he went down there to take a look. While he was down there, he found a couple of Xbox 360 motherboards. But these looked different than what Rowdy knew an Xbox 360 motherboard looked like. So he took a few of these motherboards home, and popped one into his Xbox 360, and booted it up. And the words that Rowdy said next were, "Holy shit, this is a freaking dev motherboard." The Xbox 360 dev motherboards were used by programmers themselves to make video games for the Xbox. You could only get one after Microsoft vigorously screened you to be a legitimate developer. It enabled a lot more features